The person who looks like they are still handling everything, even when everything is clearly too much. Their inbox is overflowing. The deadline has moved from urgent to impossible. Their eyes look tired in a way sleep will not fix. They are answering messages with one hand, holding the rest of their life together with the other, and somehow still pretending the room cannot see the pressure on their face. Then someone notices, "Do you need help?" For 1 second, their body tells the truth. Their chest tightens, their throat closes a little. Something inside them wants to say yes before the word gets buried. But their face smiles first. "I'm fine. I've got it." That person might be you. And if it is, you may have felt a small pull in your chest just hearing that sentence, because it is not just a phrase, it is a whole identity compressed into 4 words. To other people, "I've got it" sounds capable, strong, and trustworthy, the kind of sentence people respect because it asks nothing from them. But sometimes that sentence is not strength. Sometimes it is the sound of someone protecting an old wound, because somewhere along the way, you learned that needing people was dangerous. Maybe help did not come when you asked for it. Maybe it came with frustration, shame, impatience, or a reminder that you were asking too much. Maybe no one said it out loud, but your body learned the rule anyway. Needing someone can cost more than doing it alone. So you became the person who never needed much. The one who figured it out, the one who made things look manageable, the one who smiled before anyone could see how close you were to breaking. And the painful twist is that it worked. Your independence protected you. It made you reliable in the eyes of other people, someone they admired, someone they could lean on when life got heavy. But it also made your struggle invisible. The more capable you became, the less anyone knew you were drowning. And in this video, we are going to unpack the psychology of people who never ask for help. Not because they are arrogant, not because they want to suffer, but because somewhere inside them, asking does not feel like receiving support. It feels like risking disappointment all over again. If this already feels too familiar, you can comment, "I've got it." Not as a performance, just as a quiet way of saying, "I learned to carry too much alone." And this is where people often misunderstand the pattern. They see someone who refuses help and assume pride is in the way. They imagine stubbornness, control, maybe even arrogance. But for many people, the truth is much quieter. At some point, asking for help did not feel safe. Maybe it happened early, before you had words for disappointment. You needed comfort and someone looked irritated. You admitted you were overwhelmed and someone told you to stop being dramatic. You reached out with something small and the person who should have softened became colder instead. Or maybe nothing dramatic happened at all. Maybe there was simply no one there. The house was busy, the adults were tired, everyone had their own pain, their own bills, their own storms to survive. So your needs did not explode the room, they just disappeared inside it. And a child notices that. A child may not understand emotional unavailability, stress, or generational wounds, but the body understands patterns. It understands that reaching out can end in silence. It understands that needing someone can make you feel more alone than needing no one at all. So one day, without announcing it, you stopped asking. Not because you needed less, because needing less hurt less. That is the protection twist most people miss. Self-reliance was not the wound at first. It was the solution. It was the thing your younger self built when help did not come, or when help came with a price. It let you get through homework, fear, conflict, loneliness, and the strange ache of being too young to carry something alone, but carrying it anyway. And because it worked, your brain kept it. It became the quiet rule under everything. Do not reach until you are sure. Do not need until you are safe. Do not ask unless you can survive the answer. Years later, someone kind may offer help, and your adult mind may know they mean well. But the old rule still wakes up. It does not ask whether this person is different. It only remembers what happened when needing someone made you feel foolish, exposed, or abandoned. That is why logic rarely fixes this pattern. You can tell yourself, people would probably help me. You can even know it is true, but the part of you that learned this lesson did not learn it from statistics. It learned it from moments when your need had nowhere safe to land. So if asking for help feels uncomfortable, it may not be because you are difficult. It may be because your body is trying to protect a younger version of you who once reached out and was not met. And until that younger part feels understood, independence can start to feel less like freedom and more like a locked door you forgot how to open. By the time self-reliance has protected you for years, It stops feeling like a strategy. It starts feeling like who you are. You become the person people trust when things get messy, the one who stays calm when everyone else panics, the one who knows how to fix the problem, carry the extra weight, and make the impossible look strangely manageable. And at first, that identity can feel good. It gives you a place. People respect you. They rely on you. They call you strong, dependable, mature, and you may even feel proud of the fact that you rarely need anyone to rescue you. But this is where the hidden cost begins. When "I've got it" becomes your identity, "I need help" starts to feel like collapse. Asking no longer feels like asking. It feels like admitting that the version of you everyone trusts might not be as solid as they thought. It feels like stepping out from behind the image that made you valuable and letting someone see the part of you that is tired, confused, or close to falling apart. So you keep going. You stay up too late solving problems alone that one honest conversation could have made lighter. You tell yourself you will ask when things get really bad, but really bad keeps moving farther away because your tolerance for silent suffering has been trained for years. And the more you survive this way, the more convincing the identity becomes. You begin measuring your worth by how little you interrupt other people's lives. A day where you needed nothing feels like success. A day where you almost asked for support feels like a private failure you must cover before anyone. People stop checking in, not always because they do not care, but because you have shown them a version of yourself that always seems fine. You answer quickly. You smile at the right time. You say, "No worries," before anyone has to wonder whether there are worries. That is the painful twist. Your competence did not just help you survive, it taught people not to look too closely. The more capable you became, the less anyone knew you were drowning. If this is helping you see your independence with a little more compassion, take a second to like this video. And if someone came to mind while listening, share it with them. They may be carrying more than they know how to say. Because asking for help is not only about tasks, it is about identity. It is about risking the possibility that someone might see you as not fully capable and still not leave. For someone who has spent years earning safety by being useful, that can feel terrifying. Not because help is bad, but because being helped means letting the role loosen. And underneath the capable one, there may be someone who is simply tired of proving they can carry everything. This is why many people who never ask for help become so good at giving it. Giving has rules they understand. When you are the one helping, you know where to stand in the relationship. You are useful, you are needed, you have something to offer, something that makes your place feel safer. Receiving is different. Receiving asks you to be seen before you have anything to prove. It asks you to let another person come close to the part of you that is not prepared, not impressive, not in control. And for someone who learned to survive by needing as little as possible, that kind of closeness can feel almost naked. That is why being needed can become the closest thing to secure attachment some people have known. It gives them a role, and the role gives them a kind of safety. But being cared for has no script. You cannot control how someone will respond, whether they will stay gentle, whether they will make you feel indebted, or whether they will suddenly make your need feel too heavy. So they give, they remember birthdays, check on people after hard days, notice the shift in someone's voice before anyone else does. They show up with advice, patience, errands, emotional space, and the quiet reliability of someone who knows what it feels like when no one arrives. And their care is real, but sometimes giving is also a hiding place. If I am helping you, I do not have to admit that I need help. If I am needed, I do not have to risk needing. If I am the strong one, maybe no one will notice how tired I am underneath the role. This is the quiet imbalance many relationships begin to form around them. Everyone gets used to the version of them that asks for nothing. Friends may love them deeply and still not realize how much they are carrying, because the relationship has been trained around one direction of care. The capable one gives. The capable one listens. The capable one says, "Don't worry, I'm fine." And everyone believes them because that is the version they have always been shown. Then resentment begins quietly, not loud at first. It appears as a tired silence after another long conversation where they held someone else's pain and never mentioned their own. It appears as a strange ache when nobody checks in, even though they never gave anyone a clear door to walk through. It appears as the thought, "Why am I always the one who shows up?" And yet, asking for more still feels impossible. So they either keep giving until the warmth turns bitter, or they disappear and tell themselves no one cared enough to notice. But the deeper wound is not that people never helped. Sometimes the deeper wound is that you became so skilled at hiding need that love could not find where to enter. And if love could not find where to enter, healing is not forcing the door wide open. It is learning to leave it unlocked in small ways. Learning to receive does not mean becoming helpless. It means letting your life become slightly less impossible to carry. For people who never ask for help, healing rarely begins with a dramatic confession. It begins with something much smaller, almost embarrassingly ordinary, letting someone hold one corner of the weight. At work, this might look like letting a colleague take one task off your plate instead of immediately proving you can survive the whole pile alone. In a friendship, it might sound like saying, "I'm actually not okay today," and then resisting the urge to turn it into a joke. The point is not to flood your nervous system with vulnerability. The point is to give it new evidence in doses it can survive. You ask for something small, and the world does not end. Someone helps, and they do not punish you for needing. Someone stays, and your body begins to learn a sentence it never got to trust before. I can need and still be safe. But there's another part of this that people often skip. Grief. Because if you became someone who never asked for help, there may be a younger version of you still waiting in the background. The child who did ask, the teenager who tried to explain, the adult who finally admitted they were overwhelmed and watched someone make their need feel inconvenient. That grief matters. The old strategy will not soften just because you shame it. It kept watch over a younger version of you who learned that reaching out could hurt. So before you force yourself to change, you may need to thank the part of you that learned to carry everything. Not because it should keep running your life, because it got you here. And then, slowly, you can begin building something different. Not dependence, not collapse, not needing everyone for everything. Something steadier than that, the ability to receive without losing yourself. This might look like letting one person know before you are at your limit instead of after you have already broken quietly. It might look like saying, "Could you help me think through this?" Instead of presenting the finished solution and pretending it cost you nothing. It might look like allowing someone to care clumsily, imperfectly, without deciding that imperfect care means care is unsafe, because the people who love you may not need you to be invincible. They may only need one honest opening. You have spent so long making your pain quiet that even the people who would show up may not know where to begin. That is not proof you are unloved. It may be proof that your survival became too convincing. So healing asks for a different kind of strength, the courage to be visible before you are impressive, honest before you are finished, and human before you have made your need convenient for everyone else. If this video gave words to something you have carried quietly, subscribe to Cortex Psychology for more deep psychology videos about self-worth, emotional healing, attachment, and the patterns that shape who we become. The strength you built by doing everything alone is real. It got you through things no one should have had to carry unsupported. But strength was supposed to be a bridge, not a home. You were never built to carry everything alone. You only learned to because, at some point, no one came soon enough.